What's good, everybody? King Recon from the future here. Unfortunately, last night I was spoiled on this upcoming One Piece chapter. It was crazy the way that it happened, man. I mean, they just popped up out of absolutely nowhere. And I gotta give a massive thank you to Wheezy Bird for attempting to look out for me by letting me know. I think it was like seconds later, like a minute later. Like, yo, spoilers drop, be careful. But it was already too late, man. So much love to Wheezy Bird for trying to look out for me. Fortunately, what I did see was a very minor spoiler and one major one, but it was vague enough to where I was like, all right, you know what? It is what it is, right? You can't do anything about it. Can't return back to the past or anything like that. But I took all of the precautions necessary, and I ended up being the one hit because of my own recklessness. So it was definitely my own fault, yo. No doubt about that. I apologize. It hurts me the most because of y'all. You know what I mean? Like, I really wanted y'all to have an unspoiled reaction to any chapter. And so, especially for one of this magnitude, I really wanted to remain unspoiled. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. But last night, I had a conversation in the Discord. I brought all of this up. And because I already recorded this predictions video, I edited it, put all of it together. I asked everyone if it was okay, if y'all would like to see this predictions video. You know, I didn't feel right uploading a predictions video when I've been spoiled, but because I already recorded it previously, everyone in the comments on Discord told me that it was all right to go upload it because those were my thoughts before I got spoiled. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer in the beginning of this video, just in case, that yes, I did get spoiled on this upcoming One Piece chapter, but it was after I recorded this predictions video, which I did yesterday. So I hope everybody has an awesome sauce of a week. It's crazy times, man. Crazy times we're in, but I will let y'all know right now. Spoiler B Flagnards. Nothing is gonna stop the hype for this upcoming chapter. So I'll see y'all when the chapter drops. Take care, and once again, I apologize for my own stupidity in getting spoiled on this chapter, man. It legit, my observation hockey should have been stronger. It normally is. I let my guard down, dude. I was like Usman and UFC this past weekend. You know, that 1 second got kicked in the head and I got set on the floor. But I ain't in the mud. Y'all know I just took a shower, so it don't matter.
After the conclusion of the epic Wano saga, after a decade's worth of storytelling has culminated, for the first time since Punk Hazard, we have no idea where we're going next. The hype is real. Adventure Piece is back. But not only is it back, this is also simultaneously, ladies and gentlemen, this is also simultaneously going to be the very first chapter, the first official chapter of the final saga of this story. So now we have entered the point where part-timers are about to become full-timers, where we see my GOAT, Akagami no Shangsu, for more than 5 seconds, where we see Dragon for longer than 10 seconds, where we're finally gonna find out who Vegapunk is, who Instant Messenger Sama is, who Luffy's mother is. It's time! The Void Century is almost upon us, but before we get into any of that, we have to start somewhere. And that is where this next chapter is going to take us. Y'all, I cannot state, there's nothing that I could possibly say that could let y'all know how I'm feeling on the inside right now, man. The fact that we're about to get into this next arc, this palate cleanser, because we know every single major arc has a palate cleanser that follows, a mini arc, an adventure arc that sometimes is absolutely insane. We look back at some of the all-time greatest, Jaya, Sabaody, Reverie, Zoe. These are palate cleansers that ended up blowing our minds with the amount of insane around the world content and the stuff taking place within the story itself. But it'll also be cool with a Davy Back fight arc too. If we get an entertaining 10-chapter long adventure with our crew just hanging out in a Davy Back fight type of arc, I'm down for that as well. I just want to see our characters interacting once more. But the most fun part about this is that since we are now an Emperor's crew, no matter where we go, everything that we do that is of any consequence is going to be the biggest of big news. They're going to be covering that thing on every single type of newspaper that they have within the world of One Piece. Everything that we do is big news from this point on. And so that's what makes this all so exciting, man. This next chapter, if it's all taking place in the ocean, where it's just the crew hanging on for 18 pages, it is still gonna be a legendary chapter. Because do you know how long it's been since we've had the entire crew on the Sunny? And now we're also gonna have Jinbei with us? Like, oh, and then the opportunities for detours and chaos and the amazing spreads of us in the ocean again and the potential chaos that can ensue from that. It's just so much excitement, man. But also, on top of the stuff happening with our crew, there is the insane amount of content happening around the world that we know eventually is going to have to connect. Eventually, I don't know if it's going to take 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 chapters, when the adventure that we're currently going on is going to start having direct connections to the events around the world. But when that stuff starts hitting, when we finally get that first connection between the two, peak fiction from then on out, man. It is going to be absolutely legendary. But I want to talk today about the first chapter that is going to lead us into that, which is going to be chapter 1058. This goes without saying, but please do not look at the comments of this video just in case. I myself, by the time this video has already gone up, I've already removed myself from social media and from the YouTube comments until I read the chapter. Because this is going to be one to remember. We have no idea where we're going. We have no idea what we're getting into. And so I want to split this little short predictions video into 3 different subsections. The 3 possible structure type of, the chapter structures that I can see us happening here. So the first one being, this is a fully Straw Hat chapter. If this is a fully Straw Hats chapter of us on an adventure, that would mean that in this chapter, in some way, shape, or form, we're going to have to see the newspaper for ourselves. Right? Like there's going to be some sort of information coming in from the outside. So it's going to be a combination of us being on an adventure, us hanging out on this ship, potentially some sort of detour happening. We know how One Piece is, you know, with like the barrel coming out like a thriller bark or whatever it is. Something's going to happen that's going to lead us into the next arc. Whether it's an external force like the newspaper or something happening that's going to propel us to want to get to the next point as quickly as possible. Potential bounties, we know how huge that's about to be. There's a lot of possibilities if it's a Straw Hat only chapter, and I cannot wait to see the new outfits and the potential new island whenever we get to it. There's a lot of fun scenarios to be had there. So if it's a Straw Hat only chapter, I most certainly expect it to be a fun adventure chapter that also has some type of twist to it. Whether it be, like I said, something reminiscent to the barrel, back into the bark, that's just going to light up and it's going to take us in a completely different direction, in a detour that we'll be in for a couple of chapters. I'm all down for that, man. It is adventure piece at its finest. Or it'll be a lore piece type of thing where we get to find out a little bit more on the bounties, on the potential events happening around the world, but not the full picture, of course, because I don't expect Luffy to find out about the Sabo thing for quite some time. Now, we get into possibility number 2. Possibility number 2 is that this is not a Straw Hat chapter at all, and instead this is an around the world chapter. Let me tell y'all something. If in this chapter we see the events happening around the globe, and whatever it ends up being, from Akainu putting his fleet together, to Dragon gathering up the troops, to finally seeing when the Flying Flattener is happening with Sabo, who the man marked by flames is, all of these different things. If it's the bounty chapter, if we go back to McDonald's headquarters, if we go and meet the Gorosei up there, if we see Instant Messenger Sama, I don't care. An Around the World chapter at this stage in the game is an automatic 40 out of 10 chapter. Automatic. It is going to be chaos. It is going to be insane. And I am so excited to see what is going to be our first around the world, our first look around the world now that we've gotten on Wano. Because our first look around the world upon coming back from this 1 month break was seeing the stuff happening with Sabo. So it's like, how do we follow that up now that we've left Wano officially? Who do we go to see next? Obviously, we all want to see Buggy. We want to see Buggy. We want to see the hits that Buggy's put out on the Marines, the type of bounties he's put on there. We want to see Mihawk with him, Crocodile with him. That's going to be a great time. But also on top of that, it's like we know the stuff that is brewing with the Revolutionary Army and the Marines. So it's like, yo, what is cooking there? So obviously a lot of really fun scenarios to be had there. And so no matter where it goes in the in and around the world section, it's going to be chaos. It is going to be absolute chaos. We are looking at a potential chapter 956 once more. Where remember when chapter 956 dropped, it was just bam, 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 bam. We were like, what is going on? There's this massive thing happening right now. It's being hidden from us. Multiple different stories happening at once. And it's like, this is the type of chapter we could be looking to see start this spiral into the final saga. Or we get the best of both worlds, which is the chapter that I want. I want an adventure piece chapter with our crew that also simultaneously takes us around the world, chapter 903 style, where we see what's happening with our crew going to the next island, and then at some point within the chapter, we switch over to chaos happening around the globe. That would be the perfect mix to kickstart this transition to the next arc. Because now we would have a scenario where not only are we well accustomed and have those awesome vibes with the crew on the ship, but we also get to see what's happening around the world. And so whatever that ends up being, and whatever connection that eventually ends up happening to our crew, I really want that to be the case. But I'm also fine, 100% fine, honestly, with either being a fully a Straw Hat chapter or a fully an Around the World chapter. I'm cool with one of those. Y'all know. Regardless, it's going to be awesome. Regardless, in their own ways. But if it's a combination of those two, oh my goodness, dog. It'll be the classic way that Oda handles things where he switches away to something when it gets really interesting. So let's just say we dedicate a couple pages to the Straw Hats as, let's just say, quote unquote, whatever the barrel is going to be this time, this crazy twist happens. And the moment that happens, we switch to Around the World. That's going to leave us with what in the world happened over here? And then we're going to be like, oh my goodness, it's time. Wherever it is, I don't care where we go around the world, y'all. I honestly don't. Wherever we go, it is going to be peak. And so it's like having that combination within one chapter, dedicating like half and half, or like 3/4 over here, a quarter over here, whatever it is. I need it. I need this chapter, man. Like, this is going to be our very first look into the type of saga that not only we're going to be getting ourselves into, but the type of arc that's going to be coming in next, what type of things we could expect to see, with also the awesome, new outfits, new island, adventure piece hype, while simultaneously getting that lore piece to the max. So it's like whatever ends up coming of this, man, it's just going to be so much fun. And whether it be in this chapter or in the coming chapters, when we go around the world once again, man, we are going to be in for some of the greatest Around the World chapters in the entire series. And that is extremely exciting. That is so, so exciting, dude. But please, let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. I am so excited to read them whenever I finish reading the chapter, so that I can see how many of us were anywhere in the ballpark of like, okay, this is what happened. But I most certainly look forward to doing the reaction this week, man. It's going to be a blast. I can already tell that from here on out, It is going to be one of those special stretches of chapters in this particular point where it's just going to be a great time to be caught up weekly because, like I said in the afterthoughts, whether you are a Wano hater or the biggest Wano tard, this is a fresh start for everyone. This is our first official fresh start in quite some time where we're going into completely new material. And so I'm sure weekly-wise right now, and maybe even for individuals, because the arc is so long, that entire stretch is so long that even if you are binging the series, that has to have some sort of effect where it's like, man, we're getting into new material, let's go, right? So it's like, but for us weekly, where we literally have no idea what's coming next, it's like this is about to be one of those special weekly experiences that even if nothing of big consequence happens, we're going to remember where we were when we read these chapters. The first official chapters of the final saga. And it's all going to start with 1058, man. What are we going to get? Is it finally time to see the bounties, bro? We've been waiting since chapter 1053. Is it finally time to see what's happening with Sabo? Or is it going to be an adventure piece chapter? Or a little bit of both. We'll have to see what happens. But I'm so excited. I will see y'all when the chapter drops. Take care. This has been the predictions. We're getting into the greatness now, man. We are getting into the greatness now, dude.